Hey guys, today we're talking about one of my favorite things to do. Now last weekend, I spent the weekend with some great folks in Kentucky Emergency Management doing track-by-track man-tracking. We were looking at Ab Taylor's method, which I've studied in the past, but I really picked up some of those skills that carry over into the woodsmanship area, and I recalled some things that I've done growing up, and I want to share those with you today. I do want to emphasize that this is not original information. This is information I'm sharing from you to you because I'm always trying to learn, and I've been encouraged to share information with you, and I feel drawn to share information with you to make you a better outdoorsman, in this case a better hunter, a better farmer, and to really enjoy your time in the woods. Now we're going to talk about track-by-track stalking of wildlife in a woodland environment. This is a perfect day for it. It's high wind. We're losing tracks as fast as we're making them. I've picked up a game trail that's very difficult to follow in these conditions, and I'm going to show you a trick using our existing kit and some other incredibly cheap items to pick up this trail, find a direction of travel, and stalk that livestock, stalk that wildlife in a hunting scenario and make you more effective as a woodsman. So let's reset the camera. Let's talk about this track. We're really battling the wind today, so I hope you can hear us. Take just a few minutes, we'll get set up. Now, the first thing that we're going to look at is we're doing carry-in information. So we know we're looking for deer, particularly we're looking for bucks. So I am right off of a field in the wood line, which is where those bucks like to hang out in hunted areas. I'm looking at things like this cedar tree. I've noticed that a lot of this loose bark has been rubbed off. These limbs are snapped off. This one's actually completely peeled. We know we're using this as a rub. As we move down to the ground, we can really see a lot of older tracks during the rut. We're not in the rut, but we know that this is a place that deer travel and deer use because of these older tracks and things of that nature. If I want to pick up this game trail, I want to start looking at these areas that don't have a lot of overgrowth, and I'm looking for tracks. So if I move to the ground, there's not a lot to see. Now, personally, I can back up, and anything that I haven't cross-contaminated, I can look in this area, and I'm looking for areas that don't have a lot of overgrowth. I'm looking for disruptions, and I'm looking for tracks. So as we move around on the ground and we look down, we start looking for that telltale deer track. We're looking for areas like this. This is very soft. It leaves good tracks. Now, like I said, these are old. You can see that the deer have been moving up through here. You see all these little pokes, these digs. Now, I'm not tracking this deer. I'm definitely not tracking a person, so it doesn't really matter if I touch them. But you can see there's all these little pokes where deer tracks have been. This one actually has a cobweb in it. It's probably old. This path of travel here is a really good area to look for sign and to establish where a game trail is. If I move back here, all of this moisture and discolorization, I can see that deer have moved through here and poked the ground. Now, in my case, this scenario has a timeline because tonight we have a storm moving in. All of these tracks are going to be washed away. If I was in an emergency situation where I'm looking for a lost kid, I'm looking for a lost hunter, I'm looking for a lost hiker, I want to get on those tracks and I want to preserve that track and that direction of travel. I'm going to do that with my notebook, I'm going to do that with a camera, and I'm going to do that with the method that I'm showing you here in just a moment. Now first, we need to step back. I've brought some incredibly complex equipment to show you, and I'm going to show you what I do, or what I've picked up and what I want to share with you to mark those tracks and find that direction of travel using that Ab Taylor method, the kebab method as well. And then lastly, we're doing what we call brightlining to determine that direction of travel and preserve it with known landmarks. So if we have to come back here after the storm, after the rain has moved out, I can still find that direction of travel. I can pick up a track using sign, and I can really make some really good educated guesses of where wildlife's moving, where livestock's moving, and indeed where people are moving as well. So let's set up really quick and make that tool that we're going to use to make us more effective. Now, as you can see here, I've got some super simple tools that I'm going to use. I like to find some kebabs. These came from our local store. They were literally $1. It's just a wooden skewer. I like wood because if I wind up leaving them in the woods, they're going to rot. Talked to my instructor last weekend about that. He feels similarly, but they're going to rot up and I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to make these more visible with some fluorescent paint. I like orange, I like a royal blue or a deep blue, something that's not typically found in nature. So I'm going to take some of these kebabs and I'm going to actually spray paint these really quick, and when they dry, we're going to use them to mark tracks. So I'll show you how we do that. Now, I'm not going to overly complicate this. I brought a cardboard box because I don't believe in spray painting on the ground. We're going to shake these out. We'll use this many, will be fine. However many we use, it doesn't matter. I'm going to rattle this can up. Now this is a new can of paint, so I want to shake it up really good, especially with fluorescent. That carrier is not as heavy as it should be. So we'll squeeze that lid off. This one's ready to go. Now, as I spray these, I'm gonna get a good coating. I'm gonna let them roll around. I don't care if they're smeared because I don't care about the finish. I just care about if they're bright and orange and I can see them. I'll roll them around, make sure they get a good coating. Another good way to do this is in a paper bag, to be honest with you. Those are going to dry. I'll come back in a few minutes. That'll be good to go. Now, real quick disclaimer, do this outside in a well-ventilated area. I am almost hyper-ventilated here today. It's not a big deal. The wind's roaring. I don't have to worry about this. Now, while those are drying, let's talk about how we take notes. Now, this is my book. Let's start with a simple blank piece of paper here. These are things that I would take notes in. I would always put my date, my location. Now, I personally like to use extra data and mark that with latitude and longitude or a known location where I'm at. I'm gonna put land nav camp. Land nav camp. I'm looking for deer track. This is pre-storm. I'll put the date over here. And that way, if I have to use this data later, I can come back and I'm gonna make known landmarks in here. If it's next to the stripped cedar, and forgive me, I'm writing this left-handed really quick, or whatever I'm marking it next to, I'll mark known landmarks for me. The last thing I would do is take that and put my compass on it, which we're going to show here in a minute, and I'll take those notes as well. This Right in the Rain little hand desk is great for that. It's waterproof, not water resistant. I don't have to worry about it. Right now we're waiting on our skewers to dry, and then I'm going to put you on these tracks over here. Now, there are a number of ways we can do this. I'll show you the way that I learned it first, and then I'll show you the way that I practice it, and a blend of the skills that we learned in Mantracking class. So let's go over here and look at this game trail that we're primarily going to focus on today. Right here is a game trail. I know it's here. I've watched deer move on this. This is a generational thing. So over time, we know that this is a game trail. A lot of us that are established woodsmen, you can see, because there's a blank place in the trail, that there's definitely a game trail moving through here. Not always the case. We may lose it because of weather. It may be contaminated. It may not be any good for what we need. In this case, we know this is a game trail. You don't always know it's a game trail. We're going to find some individual tracks and we're going to mark track by track and predict or estimate a direction of travel. Now, what I'm doing is, over time, these game trails become less and less effective because they're worn back. I'm going to move beside of the game trail and I'm going to find those outlying tracks. Some of these deer that have been hunting heavy or face a lot of pressure, or they're in a lot of competition, they will not walk on the game trail. They'll walk beside the game trail. So we're going to take a look at that as well. We'll also keep our eyes peeled for resources. Check out this big old piece of fat wood. Look at that. That's huge. I'll take that back with me and process it. Anyway, we're going to mark this game trail here in just a moment, and I'll show you what I'm looking for. Now, the first thing that we're going to look for is we're going to move up and down this game trail to see if anything's traveling it, and we're looking for what's called track traps or sign traps. I'm looking for a place where animals or my subject is likely to leave a track or leave some type of sign. In this case, we're looking for things like downed tree limbs, thick brush that will establish a path travel, or mud. Now, this is a perfect example of what I'm looking for right here. I'm going to turn the camera around and give you a look at this track that I found in a trap that I was looking over here. Now, here we go. This is a really good track trap. This is right on the edge of a field, so animals will be using this for egress, and we're looking for areas that are muddy that are going to capture that track or that sign really easy. And what I've done is very quickly I've found a few tracks that really pique my interest and show me that animals are moving through here. Check this out. Now at first glance you don't really see a lot, but right here is a deer's toes, his heels, as he moves through the mud. We get an idea of his direction of travel because we're looking for 3 tracks. We're going to back up. We'll see areas like this that have lift off. You can see where his toe pinched that track. That's definitely a track as well. And here's another dynamite track. Concrete evidence of an animal moving. Very easy to see. You can see he displaced these little acorns. This stick is actually broken because of the track. The wind's picking up, of course. We know that an animal is moving through here. So this is where we're going to start with this track trap or this sign trap. And we're going to move into this game trail and look for that direction of travel. Now, here's the problem with tracking anything. Human beings, deer, whatever you're tracking. I was on these tracks. I went and got some tools to shoot the rest of this video. I come back and these tracks are here. Nothing's changed, but we can't see it. So as I establish these tracks, I'm going to show you a way to retain that information. And we're going to do that using our painted kebabs. Now, this is a method that a lot of man trackers use, and it was something that they showed us in this training last weekend, and I immediately saw application for it because I've spent way too much time chasing cows in the woods, looking for deer, looking for signs. So as we pick up these tracks, we're going to mark these with this kebab. Now, it's a lot more complex than that if you're picking up tracks for people, but in simple, we're gonna mark these. So here's one track. Look how easy that is to see now. And I'm down in these tracks working them. Here's another track. That wind is really punishing us. I'm trying not to contaminate my trail. And if we look real close, right here's a 3rd track. That's great. Here's a 4th track as he slowed down into the woods. Here's definitely a 5th track. We're starting to get somewhere now. We're going to lose him on these tree roots. So we're looking for where he picks back up. We're looking for partial prints. We're looking for anything that we can reestablish this track. Now, luckily right here is some really soft ground, and right here is his 6th track. Now, this is becoming obvious. This deer moved through here. He did not follow this game trail. So check this out. In its most basic methods, we can see a direction of travel. Now, if I move up, I'm gonna move this back so I can show this all to you guys. Check this out. Now, we know that this is an established game trail. We also know that based on this track by track method, this buck did not follow this established game trail. He was moving this way. 3 tracks establish a direction of travel, and I'm trying not to contaminate it too much, but this is just for this video, so that's good too. Now, it's easy to see now. This is easy to see. If we had leaf litter, this wind blowing like this, we're gonna lose these tracks. So how do we maintain this direction of travel. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my compass. Let me move where you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to go ahead and say red in the shed. We're going to find that direction of travel. I'm going to put it right on that direction of travel. That deer is moving northeast. So we're going to follow him that way until he changes direction. That note, that information is going in my notebook. This deer moved northeast of this game trail. Over time, I'm going to use that information to follow a direction of travel. Meanwhile, I want to maintain this line. I don't want to lose it, so I'm going to show you what I do. Now, this method is a little bit different. We used to do this with marking tape in the woods following cows. That's where I picked this up. I've learned that some people call this center lining. I've heard it called Brightlining. But this is going to help us should that weather move in so we don't lose everything that we had. So I'm going to pick up this deer here in a search and rescue, a man search situation. I would say this was our last known. We got good contact there. I'm going to stick my tent stake there. I could use one of these kebabs, but I'm going to use my tent stake because we're using our kit. I'm going to put my utility line on that. And what I want to do, I get in a hurry, I want to take my tent line with my bowline and make that little slip there. And that slip will go over the end of the stake. It's not going to pop off because that's really frustrating, especially in difficult terrain, for me to have to come back and put it back on that stake. I'm going to come up here and I'm following my tracks. Put another stake in the ground. I've made 2 little pokes. I haven't contaminated my tracks. I'll take a quick prusik, and this is the way I like to do it. You don't have to do it this way, but this is the way I like to do it. Quick prusik, put that around my stake. Check this out. When I pull it tight, and it doesn't have to be super tight, I'm not building a shelter, I'm looking for that straight line. There is my direction of travel. If I pull open those kebabs, or I pull those up out of the ground, I still have my direction of travel. I don't lose it because of weather conditions. I don't lose it because the wind's blown leaves over my tracks. I can take my compass, check that verification again on that direction of travel, red in the shed. That deer's moving northeast. More importantly, he's moving 50 degrees in an easterly direction northeast. I can follow him all the way up. Now, if I step on back and say I only have 10 or 20 of these kebabs, I can pull these after I've documented these tracks. And since I know he's moving this direction, or I assume he's moving this direction, I can start looking for tracks. Now right up here, here's his next track. Now I'm in this leaf litter, very hard to find. I'm not a great man tracker, but I do know that if I look closely, I can find disruptions. This wind is really blowing this everywhere. So these leaves are not where they were this morning. But right here is his track on this game trail. Now I can use my logic to go to the right. I can go to the left and reestablish with this game trail. In this case, I'm going to follow right first because it looks like he's moving that direction. If I lose him, I don't pick him up, then I can come back to that other game trail. But establishing this direction of travel and using this bright line or this center line, I can make a pretty good guess where this deer is headed. And you can see he kind of meandered on up. Those are known good tracks, and he tied in with this other game trail that travels up and this way, looks to me like. So I can continue to track him track by track and look for other sign. This is just one of those tips, guys, that I've picked up over time as a outdoorsman, as a woodsman, as somebody that's observing nature. By no means is this perfect, and by no means am I an expert. Really great training. I highly suggest you take a Mantracking course at any chance you get. This one came up and I jumped on it. Really great training for just upping your game and looking for those clues in the woods. Thank you guys so much. Hope this helps you out.